Just a quick heads up, our first movie of the show features some mild but tasteless scenes of sexual violence and some pretty troubling depictions of harm against animals, real animals. This is the 1930s. We don't go into too much detail, but if you want to skip it, go to around 46, 47 minutes if you just rather avoid that. Hello, 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 and welcome to Bags and Trash episode 3, I think it is now. The podcast where
It's
we
three.
watch and discuss. It is 3. Podcast where we watch and discuss the best and worst movies on Letterboxd of a given year, determined randomly by a big wheel. My name is Jack,
Mine's Nathan.
and today we've spun on 1934. Can I tell you a bit about how the sausage gets made, Nathan? A bit behind the scenes stuff here.
Which movie is this about? Or is this just 1934 in film? What are we talking
Yeah,
about?
it's gonna be about Maniac specifically, I guess.
Okay, yeah, we'll start with Maniac. That's a good one. I want to end on a high note, so let's start in the trenches.
Yeah. So here's the thing, right? Like, when we've had our other episodes, like, we saw There Will Be Blood coming up, and I just knew that Tarantino had gone off on Paul. It's like, I have a bit planned for that episode. And then we got The Godfather, and it's like, I know Al Pacino couldn't speak Italian, couldn't do anything. I have a bit planned for that episode.
Yeah.
When we spun on Maniac, and I saw it as a 2.5 on Letterboxd, and it has generally good reception from, like, a lot of places. And, it's early film. I had a bit planned.
Oh, yeah?
About the joy of, like, early movies and low budget stuff and schlock and, like, having fun with yourself. And then the movie fucking sucks. And it ruined
it was awful. I didn't check
everything
this.
lined up and it ruined it.
I would like to know how much that movie cost. I should have checked.
$5,000, which $1934 is, like, not a nothing budget, but it's not much.
Yeah, I was thinking, because they have sets, but the sets are really clearly, like, wood. Or the bricks must have been made of foam or something, although I don't know if they had that kind of foam in 1934. But
probably horrible asbestos, right? Like, just...
Oh, yeah, everyone's just inhaling it. It's lead and asbestos in a brick. It was interesting, right? Because I was thinking about this. Like, 1934, I had a lot of preconceived notions about the 30s. I just assumed everyone was a racist, misogynist, that kind of vibe. I knew they weren't everyone, because obviously things wouldn't change if everybody was just cool with it, and also the people who it was targeted at wouldn't have been cool with it. So, that kind of thing. What I wasn't ready for, and I should have been, was the sheer contempt, not really hatred, but, like, fear of any kind of, like, mental illness at all.
Yeah.
That came through in that.
Like,
a movie interspersed with, like, yeah.
Sorry, I was going to say, the vibes of the movie starts very good before you realise what the actual presentation for it is. First frame, black screen, text fades in, I've put in all caps in my notes, fear is a psychic disease, which, as a fan of
really
40k and Dune, I think you probably really loved that intro.
I did immediately think of the litany against fear. That was... Psychic disease is a powerful way to describe fear.
Great
That's really
quote.
cool.
Not one from the movie was quoting a psychologist of the time, which the movie then goes on to continue to do as the plot goes on.
Yeah, he loses a lot of vibes from the further quotes. That first one, kind of a banger. The rest, I'm like, oh, glad he's dead.
Just a huge amount of paranoia about the mentally ill and very bad depictions of, any kind of debilitation, as they would call it back in those days.
Well, I saw the one about paranoiacs specifically as paranoiac as a, I guess, adjective or I've never heard the word conjugated that way. But I immediately saw it and I just kind of laughed at the irony of them talking about the paranoid, because it's like, you guys are scared of everything. Like, what are you talking about? The one where they just referred to all psychoses as a skill issue.
I forget the exact wording there, but you look at it and, like, it's one of these situations where they present a block of text to you, you read it, you're like, huh? What do you mean?
The block of text actually said that the mentally ill, the deficient, as they would have said it, were... Everyone knows the world sucks, but they're not tough enough to deal with it. So they create a world that doesn't suck in their brain. And I'm like, you can't describe psychoses as the Matrix by way of not being hardcore. Like it's absurd.
Ah,
Did you also know? Second tangent about the movie. So
yeah.
I went to go and read it because I wasn't aware. Turns out, based on, very loose term. It's supposed to be inspired by, based on a Poe novel, which is why they kept doing long shots of cats.
This is where I'm going to give it its credit because we'll get into specifics of when it happens, but I want to say like 35 or like half an hour of minutes into this 50-minute long movie, a thing is happening, and I'm like, this feels like an Edgar Allan Poe story. I thought it felt like the what is it, the Cask of Amontadillo,
Yeah,
which I'm probably mispronouncing. But then I looked it up, and it was like again loosely based on a different Poe novel. But
yeah,
there was enough in there for me to go like, this feels like Edgar Allan Poe, just not the right one. And it might be because I
yeah.
didn't know the right one.
Well, it was kind of, from what I can tell, the director, screenwriter, I'm not sure if it's the same person, probably could have checked that, just like Poe, right? It's really clear there's a lot of little things where it's, I mean, the guy getting, I was going to say the guy getting bricked up, but that doesn't quite happen yet. The guy getting, like, bricked into the fireplace in the cellar, that's obviously very
That
Cask of
was the bit that I
Amontillado.
was like, oh,
Yeah,
this is a Poe thing. Yeah.
that makes sense. The cat being called Satan, things like that. Because I was wondering when they're talking in the first scene, and it just goes, "and that terrible cat," or whatever he says, something like that, and just the screen goes to this cat that's just chilling.
Well,
I was
that cat,
like,
he was. So, for context on the movie, starts off, and I thought it was like, oh, this is paced like crazy, gets right into the action. Turns out, no, it's just like poorly paced. But it starts
"Yep,
in a laboratory. You've got a doctor, Dr. Myers Schultz, and his assistant Maxwell, Mr. Maxwell. I forget if he's got first, second, whichever. Um, Immediately they're like, we need to go find a body and get a heart and replace the heart to bring the body back to life like we did to that fucking cat. And Maxwell was freaking out. He's like, you can't do this. And it's very clearly established that Meyer Schultz like saved him from the cops and now has him under threat, essentially. And that's the
yep,
premise, and it's a spiraling into insanity by vein of 30s legibility on what insanity means.
yeah." Very. This stress is going to turn you into the devil. I mean, there's even the overlays of literally hell as he's taking on the persona,
Yes,
right?
yeah. I don't know if
So
you
it's
looked into this, but I found out like the reason for these interstitials because the text that cuts in it isn't appropriately placed. You'll be halfway through a
no,
scene and suddenly it fades to black. Here's a text about some mental health issue this guy's got, and then let's like watch it play out, but it's not really connected.
yeah,
My understanding is that the film was made, directed by one, what is it, Dwayne Esper, and in the process of making it, he signed a deal to turn it into an educational film. And that is
right.
what
That makes
the
sense.
interstitials are for, because now it's educating people about, you know,
Yeah, this is how people with paranoia will kill you.
exactly, yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. This is how the schizophrenic will attack you on the street, as they are known to do. Um, no, that makes some amount of sense. Really does paint the 30s in the light I thought they were in,
Yeah,
which will be fun when we get to the other
exactly.
movie because that really didn't. Um, so to
Yeah.
talk about it's not portrayed particularly heavy, but the subject matter is heavy. For the briefest of moments. So we had a little chat before where you mentioned, well, I mentioned to you about the alternative title of Maniac,
Which I
and
tried
you
not
hadn't
to
seen it
find
at the
out, but I
time.
sadly stumbled into
Yeah.
it.
So the alternative title is just one extra word. It is Sex Maniac, which
Sex Maniac.
I saw that and thought, oh, this movie might be good. That was my. I thought, ooh, love the idea of some psychosexual horror from the 30s because they were wild in on that kind of thing. They did not know what was going on. Like chastity and everything in the 30s, crazy concept. So I thought this might be really good. This is a good look into kind of the perception at the 30s. You know, the movie I think itself is going to portray it quite differently, but I thought it might at least give us an insight into what the general sort of psyche was around this kind of thing. And I
Yeah.
thought it was going to be like racy as all hell. I thought it was going to be the horniest movie I've ever seen. Because that's just what I expect from like a very repressed people. And it
Not,
just wasn't. I mean, there was one
no.
scene that could be referred to as a sex maniac.
Yeah, one bare nipple and one. Far too long scene of a bunch of bimbos in their underwear just talking about pointless bullshit.
Well, also, you're missing the one other scene
Oh, which is the other
where
scene?
a man is injected. The man is having nerves or heart palpitations. I'm not too sure. Her husband and the wife come in. They say, "We want to see the doctor." Maxwell's like, "Oh, he's busy."
Yeah, Maxwell has killed the doctor and is it's like, well, if I disguise myself as a doctor,
Yeah,
like
cackles a lot
go
while he does it as
go
well.
to Krusty Burger and disguise my medicine with, is that kind
Yeah,
of
is the
shit,
doctor
right?
in the room? Can I see him? so, so anyway, yeah. So to set the scene here, this is where he's just taken on the persona of the doctor. The doctor wanted Maxwell to kill himself because they couldn't get the original body to work. The heart. Oh no, sorry. They got the body. The cat ate the heart, which
That was it. Yes.
is a strange scene. Anyway, they have a little to and fro about this where Maxwell is saying, "What are you talking about? We can't get another one. It's not going to be great." Something along those lines. The doctor has a bit of a breakdown, pulls a gun out of a drawer, which I don't know what it is about like American media up until at least like 1980, but you see this a lot in other TV shows as well. I mean, it's
Guns and drawers.
you just put someone opens a drawer, handgun, and
I
I'm
mean,
like,
it
is
is
that real?
part of the. I think it's probably fucking real, right? Part of the culture. You know,
Yeah,
you got the
yeah.
right to bear arms, and you will do it.
But they just have them in random drawers. So like,
It
anyway,
is his work desk. He might need it.
yeah. Well, I thought in this scene he might shoot Maxwell because he's clearly having a bit of a breakdown. And it's interesting because the rest of the movie is sort of already set up this idea that the mentally deranged are dangerous and will act on instinct and impulse and kill whenever they're allowed, as again, the mentally ill want to do, apparently. So he takes the gun, and I'm thinking he's going to shoot him. That makes sense. And then he hands the gun to Maxwell. I'm like, okay, interesting. And tells him to kill himself so that he
Hmm.
can replace his heart and whatnot. Interesting concept already.
A very bold
Also,
move to tell the guy who you explicitly want dead, here's a gun, do it, idiot.
yeah, so then Maxwell shoots the doctor.
I will
Who could
say,
have
the
seen this
idea of
coming?
this gun, like, I don't know when blanks were invented. Like, that gun fires, right? I don't know if that was
Yeah,
a real bullet. It's the 30s. It very well may have been. Fucking terrifying.
you
Just,
just on set, just shoot this gun.
I don't know what has been shown
They
on
would have had
film from
blanks.
movies this time. I mean, maybe, right? But like, I was thinking, like, am I gonna see a guy get actually fucking murked on YouTube.com because that's where I watched this movie.
Turns out it's a snuff film. Um,
I've seen some of
but
the other worst rated films. We will be running into adjacent stuff like that at some
oh,
point, which
incredible.
yeah, might be vetoing some of
So
those.
yeah. Anyway, he shoots him. Fun little tangent about that kind of thing. I might get to in a minute, but shoots him in the chest or somewhere in the abdomen. Right, the guy
You
drops,
don't
dies,
really see, yeah, he
and
just
then
falls over.
yeah, yeah, he kills over, and then he stood there with the gun. Little what have I done moment. And then he looks around the room in a bit of a panic, and he sees his box of makeup supplies because he was like a vaudeville stage actor or something.
Yeah.
And he turns himself into the doctor and has a little cackling fit while he's doing it. Right? He's I was no one, but the doctor, a great man. I'll be a great man, which is a nice callback to the original first scene we mentions about you'll never be a great man. They've got some narrative cohesion there. Anyway, he does all this. There's a knock at the door because you can't have a murder without an immediate knock at the door. Good tension. It's the woman and her husband, and she says, "Well, I've got this problem. I need to see the doctor." Yeah, and then they're in the room, and the man is like ill or something. Maxwell realizes he's not a doctor, which
The one issue pretending
obviously,
to be a doctor. So
yeah, yeah. So
he has his two vials. his, so he's got his vial of water, which, oh, I'll inject him with water because that, it won't do anything to him. And then my identical vial of super adrenaline.
super adrenaline.
Can you guess what happens when he goes to grab the identical vial of water?
If he just injected him with the straight water, he'd have died anyway. That's like really
Yeah.
not a thing you should just be injecting people
Yeah,
with.
would that have been knowledge in the 30s? Because I was thinking that. I was like, this is just going to kill the fucking guy.
They knew about like blood salinity and stuff.
Okay.
Like the
So
medical
I
knowledge
guess
was a
that
bit
would have
further up.
literally just been like a character thing, like Maxwell not knowing if
Yeah, yeah,
if
yeah.
the
The
writing knew
water,
as
this
well.
won't harm him.
But
Yeah. But
Yeah, it
then
grabs the
he injects
super
him with the super
adrenaline.
adrenaline.
It's just
Yeah,
such a
super
funny
adrenaline.
term.
I actually don't know if that's like a real term that's used. It could be, but I don't think it is. He injects him with that, and then the guy goes crazy and turns into a zombie. Which is interesting as a concept. And this is where Sex Maniac earns its name. And it doesn't earn its name from any other scene, I don't think. Where the man starts grumbling and groaning and running around the room, shaking his arms around, points at his wife, and she panics, and then he makes kind of that Frankenstein noise, like the then I think, is it the woman that they had also
The
revived
woman they'd
or something? Like,
reanimated is zombified, walking out. So she's got no emotion. She's a zombie, and he like grabs her and steals her off into the night. And you get a brief interlude of like him walking with her, and then a nipple slips out, and that's about where the sex and the mania ends. Like it's
yeah, I mean, you
very
see him
brief.
like takes her into the woods or something and is undressing her. Like, the implication is there's like a sexual assault happening here, but it's like really. I don't want to say tame because it is still like a sexual assault,
Yeah,
but it's sort of not really. If you went into this movie expecting Sex Maniac to be about sex mania, you were not getting the right movie.
you would not, but also like we are. What is it now? 92 years removed. Like our perspective on what sex mania is so different because I mean, look
That
at
is true.
you know, you can go into like r/YouTube drama and find something about some 35-year-old who's been flirting with 14-year-olds fucking any day of the week. Our perspective on sex mania is such a different thing. This may have been shocking at the time, and a lot of
That's true.
reviews and discussions I could find seem to have people implying that like this would have been a bigger thing at the time, which I
Yeah,
don't
it
know.
was
I'm
presented as well
50-50.
in a lot of the promotional material, but also at the same time that's promotional material. So you don't know
Yeah,
they're just kind of playing it up.
but I do
Um,
know Dwayne Esper, the director. I was looking him up to find about him. He did a lot of these. I don't want to call them like propaganda, but paranoia, alternative culture, um, anti-progressive, panic films essentially. He did
yeah,
Marijuana, he did Sex Madness, he did Narcotic, How to Undress in Front of Your Husband. He was very much the guy where you're like, we want to get across that X thing is bad, and we have a budget of $2. Can you make a film for
yeah,
us?
yeah,
And he'll say, not really, but you can call it that.
yeah. An interesting career because I mean, obviously, I saw a lot of descriptions of this as like an exploitation film, which I guess it is in a way, exploiting the mentally ill.
Yeah,
Which is
mentally
very
ill
odd.
women, animals. Like there is definitely elements of exploitation film going on here.
Yeah, yeah. The one funny thing, actually, when you mentioned animals, and I don't know if this is just because of the way it was shot or the color grading or anything, because obviously there's black and white shadows all over the place. When the cat is running from him,
Yes,
and he blames the cat, and he's going to chase it down and pin it down and take its eye for some reason.
different cat.
I'm 19. Yeah, different cat, right? He captures a different
Yes.
cat.
That
Like, it was.
like immediately I know yeah, that is definitely a different cat. That is not like bad color grading. That is we have one cat and there is a plot point that the eye gets removed from the cat and we have a cat without an eye.
Yeah,
It
like,
was
it
kind
really
of
took me out of it. I was like,
were you
because
in it
he
at that point? Because I don't think I was in it. I was already
I
like,
was like a little bit in it. I was like watching it, expecting not. They could have at least used a cat that was the same color or general shape. Like, that's the part that threw me off. It was strange because the cats were like a. I don't know. They really dwelled on the cats. I felt.
Yeah, I
Um.
don't know because
That.
there's so many scenes. The guy when Maxwell goes to steal the body initially, cats scare him off. He chases the cat down. There is a cat breeder who, at some point, it's like half an hour in, there is 6 or 7 or maybe 8 minutes of a cop going to investigate, talks to the cat breeder. The cat breeder talks about how there's so many rats, so I want to breed so many cats, but then the rats will overpower the cats, they'll eat the cats, and I'll get the cat fur, which I can then sell. So this is a business venture. Hard cut to the bimbos doing nothing in the room for Like way too
Yeah,
long.
yeah, I don't
Like
understand that scene. That was like a I hate women scene. I
the
can't
scene
tell
was
what
to
else the
introduce
director was doing.
Maxwell's wife, who he didn't know about beforehand, but they didn't know how to do that
Oh
without
yeah,
just having like dumb women in states of undress talking about nothing. It's a 51-minute long film, and 10 minutes are dedicated to bullshit. That's like
yeah. So I know the the Paul story it's based on, or again loosely inspired by, is called the Black Cat.
yeah,
So I'm assuming they just felt they needed to include cats more. Uh, Same kind of thing. I mean, there's the whole body getting hidden behind a brick wall. That's also in the Black Cat. It's a lot of like concepts are pulled from it, but it isn't really following the same story. There's no reanimation in the Black Cat, I don't believe.
mm,
That's just not how it works. There's more to do with the actual cats themselves. So I think at one point this movie might have been less about reanimation. Maybe they did start with this Black Cat adaptation idea, and then it went a little bit Frankenstein because I don't know, something about reanimation and sort of early 20th, late 19th century, just a big thing, right? They love that idea.
I
It's like
guess
the
you
most,
got like a scientific revolution. Frankenstein was obviously like it was a big hit. I'm assuming Frankenstein itself, right? Like
yeah, but it was quite a bit earlier than. Although I think the movies, which obviously this is much more inspired by the movies than it is
Boris
by the,
Karloff, yeah,
the
yeah.
book.
That I saw these names come
Yeah,
up a lot. The old, yeah. It's the same as you get nowadays. Like Netflix just released some fucking Ben Affleck, Matt Damon schlock film about nothing that's derivative of everything else, right? Like this is it. This is that from the 30s. You've seen
yeah.
popular films. You've seen big actors doing a thing. We've got 2% of their budget. We can probably make it back if we just pump this out and get some government money attached to call it an educational film. Done.
I think that is the idea, right? They wanted to just pull on everything that was popular at the time. You know, get a bit of Poe in there, get a bit of Frankenstein in there,
Yeah.
hope for the best. I mean, even the way the Doctor looks is very Frankenstein, right?
Yeah.
And I don't think that's what doctors just looked like in the 30s.
What if it was though?
Uh,
Like you got any debil? I've got a broken arm. Oh no! Oh no! Who's this guy?
yeah, here's this guy with the wild beard and the big glasses and the cackle, and you know, you're immediately
You will
hit
need a
with
splint for 3 weeks. Oh god.
yeah, it's just an odd one. It was like it wasn't very good. It wasn't very compelling. But it was. I will say, I'm gonna kind of benchmark a lot of these movies against this. I did enjoy this more than Epic.
Yeah, I was gonna talk about this when we get to tier listing, tier rating.
Yeah,
I think I enjoyed it about the same, but it is shorter and doesn't have 70 years of past experience to reference. Because I got into a mindset before I watched It Happened One Night thinking about this, where the idea of a series of images creating an illusion of movement started in 1874 with like 6 seconds of a planet being observed. And then, like we said in episode 0, feature films as a concept is 1906, 1911, roughly. This medium
hmm
is 20 years old at this point. That's so young. And I was like, maybe films are just like this. I got disproven 2 days after when I watched a different film from the same
yeah.
time, but it's much easier to see how they can fuck up and make a boring, stupid film that doesn't really say anything of worth because it like the medium is so young. What do you even do with something like this? You know?
Yeah, I mean, you can kind of tell there's a lot of theater involved in kind of the what they're being inspired by or what they're learning from. So, like, I always notice this with these kind of early movies, I suppose, but also it happens a lot in later movies that are very cheap productions because it's very common in the Santa one as well, where people will stand so that the theater going audience can see them. Like they'll both be stood at like a 45-degree angle to each other, facing
Yes. Yeah,
the
yeah.
what
Facing
would be the
camera.
audience. Yeah. So it ends up being shot very theatrically, which I think is interesting. It's kind of fun. You can tell where they're learning from and how they kind of expect the staging to need to be. Same with the actual stages themselves, funny enough. I mean, they're all, if they're not in a room, they're in a big thing made of wood. Like, I'm pretty sure all
Yeah.
those seeming dungeons they went into for some
They're definitely wooden
like,
dungeons, just painted to
yeah,
look.
yeah.
Because it's black and white, like we said, like it doesn't need, or it doesn't have the visible texture of real stone or color of real stone. you can do a pretty good paint job with a little bit of
Yeah, yeah.
time.
You can still tell though.
You can still
I
tell,
feel.
but it was kind of charming until you got to the material of the movie. When you see the little shitty dungeon and the very obviously painted cobble brick, it's like, oh, this is kind of cute. It's nice. And then the movie happens to just be going on. It's like, ugh.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, yeah.
50 minutes
Well,
long and I'm already fucking bored. Like,
there's also a lot of things in this where I kind of think in a more modern or like contemporary movie, even one shot. Let's say it's by an idiot, right? Like it's just someone who doesn't know what they're
mhm,
doing, and it's got all this other guff going on, low budget and whatnot. I still feel like there are glimpses in this movie of a director who doesn't know how the world works, and I'm saying this as someone not from 1930s,
mm,
but surely in the 1930s they didn't have a morgue set up such that there's just three corpses out in the open and two guys working on a stiff putting in a coffin in another room.
such a
Like they
bizarre
must have,
scene. So,
yeah,
Miles Schultz and Maxwell go into a morgue to steal a body. They start. First thing, he puts the stethoscope on the morgue or on the body.
that
Like
was really funny. I
it's
did
really funny, but like it
got to
was the
double check.
doctor doing that. It wasn't Maxwell doing that. Then you have the morgue attendants who see them poking and prodding at the body, and they just kind of say nothing. They're like, "Oh, that one must have died in a weird way. Guess she
Yeah, the
died
coroner's
funny."
still working on that one.
It's like, what are you talking about? Like, are you high?
One thing I will say, actually, I was a little bit impressed by this. So the injection that the doctor gives to the corpse to bring her
Hmm,
back to life, he injects it in the like neck just above what is it, clavicle on both sides, and then they start massaging the area because obviously it's like going through the
yeah,
lymphatic system, right? I'm amazed that they had that like attention to detail there, where they're thinking like, oh well, we got to work her limbs to get the lymph like moving so that
yeah.
the drug will be moved through her body. It was so weird that they thought about that
Like,
because everything
not
else I would
not
have thought
a
they just did not know how it worked.
completely yeah, not a completely mindless movie. There was clearly some thinking going in, like at the time as well. All of the interstitials, they definitely thought they were on a medical forefront, right?
Yeah,
Like, this wasn't a movie done carelessly. It's just a movie done uh really poorly. It's just
I'd
so
say
unfortunate.
they really hit on. So one of my like favorite medical historical things. I don't know how accurate my knowledge is of it, but there's a lot of talk about the heart in
Hmm,
this. And so do you know about like back then the heart kind of the core of the body, right? They didn't really consider the brain to be the self.
right, like the
Like they
heart
knew
was
the
the
brain is where the
self.
thinking happened, yeah,
Yeah.
but the heart's the self. So it's really funny when they're replacing the heart in the body because that's very taboo. That's like so much more taboo.
That actually gives a lot of like weight to the movie, as much as I hate to say that.
So there was a committee notice from Harvard, a definition of irreversible coma, and I think that was I want to say it's like the 60s or around then. It was much later than this movie where they all the doctors agreed. Oh yeah, no, someone's dead once their brain's dead, no matter what the state of their body is,
Mm,
and that was obviously like, groundbreaking is an interesting term because there's a lot of research that leads up to that. So it wasn't like in the 1960s or whenever this journal came out, everyone decided, okay, brain is the self now.
yeah,
But obviously,
but
that's
like
still 25 years after this movie.
public perception would have adjusted in a way where it starts to get commonly accepted that the brain is death and the heart can be replaced, essentially, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So up until like, especially when this movie came out, the heart was really the core of the self.
Mm,
You see it in there's some TV shows and other movies from around the time where people will talk about brain transplants and things, and it's still the same character. And obviously,
mm,
modern day, that would be stupid, right? You wouldn't. If I put person A's brain into body B, we would assume that body B is now person A.
yeah,
They wouldn't have had that same perception.
which does make it weird that like the heart transplant they do is successful. She is reanimated, but she's a mindless zombie. Like you'd think they would
Well, I
actually
think
take
there's a lot
advantage of
more.
that.
I think there's also maybe a lot more about the idea that the body as a whole is the self. So
Right.
that's why she's like this mismatched, horrible zombie, false death and
Mm.
whatnot. Whereas, in a modern movie, if you had a corpse and someone put a still beating heart into it and they came back to life, they would just be like, "Well done, doctor, clap." Um, because it's just, oh, you did a heart transplant on somebody who had a heart attack. Well done. And
Yeah.
obviously, even transplants were, I'm fairly certain, unheard of. The first heart transplant, when was
That's a good
that?
question.
I know it was in South Africa. Because there was a big thing about, did the doctor who did it kill the donor? Because
Right,
the heart was
okay.
still beating.
Ooh.
Yeah,
That's a
yeah. So
question. That's an uncomfortable one.
yeah, because obviously the heart's still beating. They have a person who is brain dead but otherwise alive, and then they have another person who needs a heart. Christian Barnard or Bernard, South African cardiac surgeon. So he did the first one in December 1967.
Okay.
So we're talking, more than 30 years after this movie, and people then were saying, did he just kill this person who was brain dead? So the medical perceptions, I think, for Maniac, if you could watch it with what people were watching it with then, it likely would have hit a lot harder.
Yeah, medically and thematically, it would definitely hit you in a way where it didn't hit us. Just everything else does not, you know.
Yeah, no, the movie would not have been good. Even at the time, the movie still would have been trash. And there wasn't a lot on at the time, so,
Yeah,
put
yeah.
that into perspective.
I will say, like, there's one thing I wanted to briefly talk about, just conceptually, because there is something. I don't know if I want to call it interesting. I'll just give you the pitch and we'll see what you think about it, right?
Yeah?
So there's multiple scenes in this movie of um, animals fighting and people freaking the fuck out. And the animal fights, they look like the animal fights you see when you will see wild animals like trying to kill each other. This isn't a play fight situation. There's
Yeah.
a dog and cat fight, a cat and cat fight, cat and rat fight, human and cat fight, and then human and human fight. And obviously, when you have modern films, we have accountability for this. There is animal rights stuff, there is stuntmen, there is human safety involved, animal safety involved. Um, there is none of that here. This looks fucking brutal and nasty and violent, and I was like, like I said before, a little bit tense about the kind of real violence I would see on this thing.
Yeah.
Obviously, not trying to build up a like maybe brutalizing animals is good actually for the film, but you look at this. We are 90 years removed. Everyone who is involved in this movie is dead. There is like no case where praise of this movie will affect anybody in a tangible way. This is the one thing in the movie that made me feel any emotion other than boredom was the sheer level of like aggressive violence between animals and people and everything. And I just have complicated feelings about it, right? Because I don't want to say like it's a movie that made me feel nothing because it didn't. But can I really praise it in any way? Because the feelings I had were like, those women are fucking killing each other. And this cat is
Yeah,
like screaming like it is being killed. Like, I'm really uncomfortable.
the part where he's grabbing the cat and the noises the cat's making. So my cat, I had a cat, died a couple of years ago, and she was quite ill towards the end of her life. And there was a time where she had an accident, a litter box accident, let's say, and I needed to clean her because she obviously was covered in whatnot.
Yeah, yeah.
So I have to grab the cat, and she's obviously not particularly okay with this. And I'm trying to like coo the cat to calm her down while washing her like back half. So I'm trying to make this room as calm as possible. I have the cat wrapped in a little towel, so she's chilling out. And I'm kind of like, as I approach her with the little like very soft like brush and sponge, and I'm trying to like wash. This was a nightmare situation, even if she was chill. She was making the exact same noises, and it made me like that was really difficult to get through that scene. So I'm like, oh, this cat is just genuinely in distress.
Yeah, like I've had cats in my life in one way, shape, or form for basically consistently 16 years at this point. And my most recent cat who passed away was incontinent for the last like 3 years of his life. And there are times when you need to, like clean them to keep them healthy and as happy as they can be, and they make these noises, and you realize like the animal instinct is just like, I'm going to fucking die.
Yeah, they're not dogs. They don't just accept it.
Yeah,
like they
And hearing it on film in like such an unfiltered way, like my heart rate spiked.
Yeah, no, that I had the same thing. That made me genuinely uncomfortable. It's sort of because obviously, I mean, the sex and the things like that in the movie. I say the sex, the one or two
The
glimpses of that
nipple, yeah.
so unbelievably like fake that you're not really bothered, right? It's not shot in such a way as to actually like rub your nose in it. And they were trying to do that, but they obviously just have a very different cultural idea of what is uncomfortable around that.
But harming animals it's universal. It's the same kind of harm being dealt to these animals. And again, I don't want to praise it, but I do want to like couch. This movie made me feel something which the other two we've watched so far didn't. I don't know really what I want to say about that, but it should be mentioned, right? Like if you're looking to feel
Yeah,
some emotion, you can get it from Maniac. It's just
if you
not
want to
a
be
good time.
briefly extremely uncomfortable about cat violence, here's the movie
There
for
you go.
you.
Or even like women, like when Mrs. Buckley and Maxwell's wife, they're both involved with trying to trick Maxwell to it's some fucking bullshit, right? Who cares? But essentially, he traps them both in the cellar with the idea of they're both set up to kill each other.
Yeah,
It feels like they told the actors that, right? Like they didn't
yeah.
say you're
That
acting a
fight was
scene.
quite vicious.
Yeah, it's like they told the actors one of you is leaving the basement. Go. And they are fucking ripping into each other. Like I thought I was going to see blood. It's horrifying when you've seen so many modern fight scenes and modern violence, and how even like the kind of gritty, grounded stuff. Like there will be blood when spoiler warning, when the fake brother gets shot in the head. It's like, oh, that's a bit grim. And then you see real people really fighting. It's like, oh, I hate this. Just hate it.
That scene also kind of a funny point. Following that, when the cops arrive, for whatever reason, because the cops are here to investigate something because they spoke to
The
the cat
cat
breeder.
guy, yeah, he
Yeah,
called him in.
cat breeder pointed them out. So the cops arrive and they find Maxwell as the doctor, and he's gone off the deep end, as it were. And they're talking to him, and he's laughing about how his science and experiments and whatnot. And you hear the scream from the basement, and the cop stops and goes, "What was that?"
Yeah.
And you're like, in any modern like scenario, even back in the 30s, I'm pretty sure if you hear a shriek from the basement, you don't calmly ask the man of the house,
It's
"Oh,
like a
what's
solid
that?"
minute of him going, these crazy bitches in my basement, they're just mental. Don't worry about them. And the cop's like,
Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
I should go investigate.
They do eventually decide to drag him down there, but it's crazy the amount of time between them hearing that and deciding to go and act on it. Because you would think any kind of coherent plot, they would hear that, immediately grab the guy, and then run down the stairs.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping this is more of a reflection on the director than the time, where the director thinks that cops might not just immediately react to that kind of noise. And I mean, don't get me wrong, not really a big
We
fan of
kind of
the
imagined
police.
they would react by running into the basement and just unloading their full magazines of bullets into it, right? Like that's the average
Yeah,
cop
yeah. I mean, they'll see a
reaction.
dog, shoot the dog, see the woman, arrest
Get
the
down on the
woman.
ground.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
that's the
exactly.
kind of
Right,
shit we're
classic
expecting.
police cops. Um, yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. They present the cops as the protagonists in this scene, which I'm not a huge fan of. But you know, that's fine. I don't know what the 30s were like. Maybe people liked cops back then. But either way, they go down there and they have this little to and fro, and then for some reason the cat has gotten in with the corpse of the doctor behind the brick wall as well. Which you do see that the cat does jump in there and he just continues breaking it up. But while they're all talking and getting the arrests underway, the cat meows and then the guy starts taking the bricks out of the wall. Which I don't know how brick walls work. I mean, like in a physics sense, I understand
Yeah,
that bricks prevent matter from passing through them.
yeah.
But in the way that if you ask me to knock a brick wall down, I mean, I would pick up a hammer, I think, maybe, or
He gets out the
a hammer
chisel.
and
He gets out
chisel.
the real ass chisel and starts just chipping
Yeah,
away
yeah.
slowly.
It's really funny because he's like working the bricks out, and I guess you can. I've seen that visually before, but it just struck me as really funny, especially that he starts at the bottom.
Yeah.
I don't know why, just that whole scene I
Or
think
like also because you've
my
got the
brain was a
two
bit
women
cooked.
freaking out, you've got the doctor being arrested. It's like break down that wall when he gets out like a regular normal sized hammer and chisel and just slowly starts ding ding
Yeah,
ding
and
ding ding ding
slowly
ding.
starts working on the wall. The guy's like, "What's behind there?" He's like, "That's the cat." You're like, "What?"
Yeah,
I mean, the cat meowed.
yeah, yeah.
Just all around a strange. It has the vibe of. Have you ever seen plays written by children, like for like a
Yes,
stage in a
yeah, yeah,
school and
yeah.
whatnot? Yeah, yeah, where every character acts in the way that a person. Yeah, so like the cops act in the way that a child assumes the cops act. This is the same thing with the morgue, right? It does feel like the director has no worldly experience at all and didn't decide to check anything. You know, if I was going to set a scene in a morgue, I might go to a morgue and say, "Hey, is there any shot that I could have a walk around where there's no bodies or something? I'm doing a movie, I'm doing a feature. Could I get a look in here?" And from my experience at university, you can get away with that kind of thing pretty easy. Like
Yeah.
people will actually just show you around a building if you ask.
But it is a bit of like a tabula rasa filmmaking, is it? Where it's just like you've got a person who literally came into existence. Hey, do you know it's a room where we hold bodies from dead people who need to be processed? How do you think that works? And then that's what gets
Yeah,
put
yeah,
on
yeah.
film.
Exactly. He just immediately like, oh yeah, that must be what it looks like. That's what it looks like in my head. So let's just film that. Which I do like in a way though, because it gives you such a better look into the way the director sort of perceives the world.
Yeah, especially the guy who makes all these paranoia films about drugs and
Yeah,
sex and progressivism, getting an idea of like this is actually how you think things operate rather than any amount of intellectual curiosity to like look into it. It is interesting.
yeah. So I really feel like this director. You could tell me that this director has like he's never been to a doctor. He's never had sex. He's only seen cats on film. Like
Yeah.
I would believe all of this
But yeah, like
because it was just yeah, it was so raw and like true to the guy's perception. Or maybe again, it might be true to what he thinks the audience will expect of these things. Because again, if you're saying he's making a lot of these exploitation-y panic movies, maybe he is banking on the audience not knowing how any of this actually works. Because that's clearly the medicine approach. He doesn't expect you to understand how psychology works, I don't think,
yeah,
if
and
he's
verifying
hoping to
it
tell
is
you all
going to
this stuff.
be so much harder back in this day as well, right? You can't check
Yeah,
to
you gotta
see
go to
how a morgue
libraries.
actually works. You'd actually, yeah, libraries or actually go to it and find out. And your average, working guy in the 1930s literally could not give less of a fuck about how a morgue operates unless he's working in there. So I guess it works for the film, if you just want to get something pumped out, but real lack of care. And I was shocked to find, I couldn't find any contemporary reviews of it when I looked into it. Lots of reviews from the early 2000s to the early 2010s. People really pretend that they like this movie, and I think they are all just fucking contrarians. I don't know
Well, so
why anyone would claim to enjoy this.
I think this is going to happen a lot. I noticed this movie also has a riff tracks because, of course, it's an
Yes. Yeah.
old bad movie. I'm convinced we're going to see a lot of these movies, especially the earlier ones, where this kind of thing could fly. People are going to want to claim that every one of these movies is The Room, where it's so bad
Yeah.
it's good, it's incredible, you should watch it. And I'm just gonna say it, you don't need to watch Maniac. It's not very good, and you're not gonna get very much from it.
But like, well, the riff tracks came out in like 2009. I was finding reviews from, like I said, early 2000s, like, or like 98,
Well, it
people
was
saying
also,
it's a shock fest. It's
I
a great time.
believe, it was a few things had happened. So it also, where was it? I saw that the Golden Raspberry Awards mentioned it.
Mm.
Very early on. I think this movie is a known like schlockfest, even before the riff tracks. But I think a lot of people saying it's so bad it's good have just convinced a lot of people that it must be good then. And you're like, no,
Yeah.
you've missed the first half of the sentence. It's not good. It's
Yeah.
genuinely a bad movie.
I don't know, a room with 5 to 8 people, you've all got drinks, you don't pay attention until something starts happening. Maybe you could have fun, but there's nothing here. It's like
Yeah, I just don't think
dumb,
enough was happening.
boring. Yeah. Just a
I think,
uncomfortable stress movie that doesn't really have any redeeming features. Even if I'm trying to
yeah,
salvage it by saying the real animal abuse made me feel something. It's like, yeah, of course it fucking did. It's a real animal being abused. Like,
very strange. I did see as well the moments of his descent into madness,
yeah,
where it's showing you just Satan and
the
hell
overlays, yeah, from
overlaying the
some
film.
20s Italian film or
Yeah,
something.
some Swedish or Danish movie, I think.
I thought it was
But
Italian. I saw someone saying it was something.
I
Who
think
knows?
Haxon or Haxon, I'm not sure how to pronounce
Okay.
the with the umlaut over it, but Scandinavian, I believe. But like about witches and things. That might be interesting to watch at some point. I don't think it's going to pop up, but yeah, it just that almost in a way seemed clever. The overlay of like, look, every person who is mentally ill is being touched by the devil, because this came up, and I think this might be a way to lead into the other movie because it's thoughts I have there as well.
Mm.
Anytime I'm watching something made in America before about 1960, I have this one recurring thought, and it's everyone on screen is a Christian, and everyone watching this
Okay.
is a Christian.
So actually, I
Because
think I
obviously
can
religion
probably
is quite
lead
big.
into this now.
Yeah.
Do you know about the Hays Code? Have you just heard? Did you look into
I'm
this
aware of the Hez
panel
code.
night?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So for those who don't know, Hays Code is a series of censorship guidelines that was in America from a time to a time that was essentially saying this is what you can show on film, this is what you should show on film. This is what you'll get public release on. If you show too much explicit stuff, you won't get public release. It happened one night. Our next movie, the highest rated movie on Letterboxd, was a pre-code production released 4 months before the Hays Code came out. And I think you can really see that considering how like tastefully sexual it is in so many times, and I don't know, it feels very like punk almost. I don't want to say punk, but
Yeah.
like
No, I think I get the idea of punk. That's going to lead into some things I want to talk about the movie. But it does feel a bit of a freer film for
yes,
that, I
yeah.
think. Yeah. Like you can tell when making this, they were having a bit of fun with it.
Well,
So,
actually.
yeah. Oh, they're not. Interesting.
Lots of behind the scenes drama. Long and short is that nobody wanted to make this fucking movie. Everyone attached to it hated the idea of it, and they all expected it to bomb completely. Which is very funny when you
Huh.
learn it's the first ever Grand Slam Oscar winner, Best Director, Best Actor, Best Actress, Best Adapted Screenplay, and Best Picture.
Look, if you're making art and you hate the entire duration, it's probably gonna
That's a good
it's gonna go
movie,
one of
buddy.
two ways. Yeah.
Yeah, It Happened One Night is like the first rom com. I think is what I've seen the most reception from. It is like the
Yeah, I can
template
see
for
that.
so many rom coms. Premise is you have a lady called Ellie. Movie starts with her. She's very clearly some rich girl who's engaged to a man the father doesn't like. She runs away. Hard cut to Peter, who is a reporter who writes the kind of schlock tabloids. Worlds collide, and then it is hour and a half ish of the character drama between them. What did you think about it? Are you into rom coms? Are you a rom com kind of guy? I'm gonna say
So
yes,
I'm
probably
not
no.
really a rom com kind of guy in the 2000s sense, but
Yes.
I really liked it. I really enjoyed this movie. I liked Peter's character a lot, like a hell of a lot. I immediately I saw a description of him as being quite roguish, and I think that is the
Yes.
best description I've seen of that character
He's
because
a
he is
very
very
swashbucklery, kind of smart talking. He's got the little mustache. Yeah.
yeah, just like oozes charisma to use
I've
the
literally
term,
written
right?
down movie is oozing charisma, and then I've noted the oh yeah
Yeah,
scene where Peter's on a bus and the bus driver he throws out the papers because his seat was blocked, and the bus driver's like, "Hey,
yeah. So
buddy,
he
you
was going
can't
to
do
sit
that."
where yeah he wants. So there's a Greyhound bus, and the Greyhound bus is for the context of the movie. That's also where Ellie is going to be getting on to get to New York to go and meet her erstwhile husband, fiance. So Peter gets on the bus after being effectively fired from his job, but spinning it to the audience that he
Blagging
hasn't been
his way
fired, which
through.
is
Such a
really
great
funny.
little moment.
Yeah, yeah. Well, like once the other guy puts the phone down, he goes like, "Yeah, I thought you'd change your tune. I thought," and everyone like claps, and he's the coolest guy in the room, which he is. He is the coolest guy in the room. So he's gonna go and get on the bus and get to New York to go and, I think, basically like have it out with this newspaper owner so that he
Yeah.
can get his job back. So anyway, he gets in the Greyhound bus, and where he's going to sit, there's a bunch of newspapers. Kind of funny that there would be a bunch of newspapers. So he starts just tossing them. And the bus driver, who is also, I guess, the conductor and every other role for the bus, because that's just how the 30s worked,
Actually, no, we see the driver
it
later
comes
on,
over.
or different bus actually maybe, because the
Yeah, I think
crashing
it's a different
bus.
bus.
Anyway, yeah.
Because he does call that guy driver, who's
Okay,
dealing with
yeah,
this.
yeah.
So he's tossing the papers to make room for himself to sit down. Bus driver comes over, shouts at him, "What are you doing?" He mentions he's moving the papers so he can sit down because he doesn't like sitting on top of newspapers. Funny line. Um, and then, yeah, the bus driver gets angry with him and starts responding to every one of his quips with, "Oh,
Oh
yeah?"
yeah, oh
And
yeah.
he just
Sounds like
riffs on
every
it so perfectly.
1930s gangster you can ever fucking.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Buster, I gotta suck you on the nose right there.
He's like, "I'm very proud of my nose. I wear it openly everywhere I go." Like, it's so genuinely quippy in a way that works. It's not just a quip for no reason. You are getting a lot of character out of it.
Yeah.
And it immediately puts you on Peter's side. Even though
and
he is objectively being the bastard in the scene.
yeah, he's the wrong guy, but there's an ongoing trend of him being wrong, but also like charming enough to get away with it.
Yeah.
Like I knew I liked both characters from their introductions, like straight away. I forget exactly what Ellie does, like in the very first scene, but she is so like quick and smart, and she's responding to her father, and it's like really funny. She's on a hunger strike because she's refusing to get brought back to where their father was. And it's like I like her. You see Peter, I like him as well. And then they have their first meeting on the bus when Peter's throwing out the papers. He goes to sit down where he's throwing out the papers from, and Ellie is sitting there instead. They have their first little interaction, and again, we're in a very different time in terms of sexuality, sexual liberation, and personal developments of sexual identity. So I imagine for a lot of people, this is like, no, it's fine, it's whatever. If you're a 16-year-old in 1934 who thinks you might be gay or bisexual, this pairing is like fucking brain altering. It like readjusts you permanently. They are both so effortlessly like charming, and the immediate like romantic like chemistry between them is it's so like it's there from second one.
Yeah. It's so good. I mean, obviously, the little to and fro he has where he says to the driver, "Are these seats for one or two?" And he goes, "Yeah, sometimes, what is it? Maybe they are, maybe they aren't." And he sits down and goes, "I guess it's maybe they are." Yeah, and it's such a good way of doing it. And obviously, I mean, they get into it a little bit. There's a bit of a back and forth. The bus moves on, and it is like that really does set the tone for the rest of the movie, I feel. And it's just them two kind of naturally relying on each other a little bit. And for the most part, it's just Clark Gable and
Claudette Colbert.
yes,
Yeah.
the two of them just really good. Like this is a movie that is so well supported by its like two main characters and the actors portraying said characters. It just works. It's so believable as well.
Yeah.
Every moment I was enjoying it. When they get back on the bus and there's the fast talking guy called Bugs.
Mr. Shapley. No, Bugs comes up later.
Yeah.
It's Mr. Shapley is the first talking guy.
Oh, is it Shapley? Yeah, Shapley, sorry. And obviously he's immediately trying to hit on Ellie, and it's not working because, again, 1930s, very impressive. They always seem to present Ellie as like one of the smartest people in the scene, even though she's
There's
a bit
a few bits where I
like
have
ditzy.
some, I don't want to say issues, but like I think later on when the movie gets in more into a weepy melodrama, it starts to slide a bit and like don't do
Yeah,
that.
there's definitely some women need men aspects to the
I've
way
written down
Ellie's
here
presented.
definitely misogynistic, but in a charming kind of way.
There we go. Progressive for the 1930s. And sometimes it's more progressive, and sometimes it's more for the 1930s.
Yeah, maybe this is the 1930s.
Yeah. Well, actually, to continue that thought, obviously, he does the fast talking, trying to hit on her, and you see the Peter gets up, tells him to scram. Doesn't use the word scram, I don't believe, but should have, because that's a very 1930s word, I feel.
They definitely use scram at some point in the movie. Like,
They must do. But anyway, yeah, he tells him to leave, says he's her husband, and then that's kind of a running theme. The immediate sort of, the husband and wife, and he's always saying husband and wife. And it's part, I think, to protect her, as it were.
yeah,
But
definitely.
it's also just a fun little nod to the overall plot. Because you know where it's going. I assume even in the 30s, audiences knew where it was going.
Yeah, I
It's
mean,
not exactly the...
not to cut to the end of the movie, because the final gag is like one of the best things I've ever seen. When they first,
Really funny, yeah.
because it's a multiple day trip to get to New York, where Ellie's fiance is, and they're stopping in multiple little cabins, and Peter is a very, he's again that kind of respectful misogynist as it is of the 30s, where he will call her brat and like tell her how much she's now starting to budget, but at the same time, he's not pushy, he's not overly sexual, he very much cares about like getting her there safely. Um, they have the bed set up, he puts a washing line between the beds and a blanket between them, calling it the walls of Jericho. It's like you go off there with the Israelites and I'll be over here. I don't have my trumpet, so I can't blow down the walls. This is an ongoing thing as well, along with the husband and wife thing, so that when you get to the end, again, we're skipping ahead a bit, but like you know where this is going. It's the first ever fucking rom-com. Um, the husband and wife thing is established, and then you get the falling of the walls of Jericho. It's like such a
It's also that part where... So they book a motel right at the end. This is when they are eloped and they've left, and she has foregone the marriage with the previous guy who she didn't really like anyway. But they get to this motel, and up until this point, every time they've stayed at like a motel or somewhere, he's said husband and wife and signed down as husband and wife, just so that nobody asks any questions about Ellie being missing, because it's all in the headlines and things at the time that she has fled because she's like a magnate's daughter.
yeah,
And every time they stop in one, yeah, like you said, he puts this line up, puts the blanket over the line, calls it the Wall of Jericho. And I really liked in this final motel, this is after you know they're together, they've already got the marriage license, the other husband has been told to fuck off. And the two owners of the motel are stood outside of their little office room. And I can't remember if it's the husband or the wife says, like, oh, they signed down as husband and wife, but I don't really believe them.
yeah.
Really
That's the
funny. I
wife.
love that
Yeah.
joke, was really good. And then he says, well, they just asked me for a rope and a blanket. I'm not sure why. And he's like, oh, funny enough, he asked me to go to the shop, get him a trumpet. And I just
Yeah.
laughed. I'm like, that's such a good...
And again, like this
And
this pre-Hays Code, you're still not overly sexual because it's the 1930s, and this is very much more a public release kind of film. But the one you hear the trumpet, cut to inside the cabin on the floor, the blanket falls to the ground. It's like such a sexual shot because you've seen the building chemistry and you know what that implies, but you're not showing it. Sex Maniac, you don't need to show it. This is way
yeah.
more sexual than anything in this other movie. Like,
Well, it also helps that they've spent the last hour or so building up this tension between the two characters. But
yes, yeah.
again, especially as well, the image of a blanket on the floor as well, like, because they can't show the clothes on the floor. That would be far too
Well,
much.
you do get the undressing scene when he wants Ellie to get behind the blanket and she's refusing to do so. So he just starts undressing in front of her, just like talking about his method of undress. How every man's got a specific one. Gotta be the shirt first, then take off the shoes. Left first, then right.
Okay, the shoes one was really funny because as he takes his shirt off, he stands there and goes like, "Oh, most men now would start on the trousers, but I'm not most men." And then he puts his shoe up. Really good, genuinely funny.
And like, it's not even that there's explicit jokes, but it's the pace and delivery and the subversion of expectation.
Yeah.
Also,
It's also,
apparently,
again,
that scene when he undoes his shirt, no undershirt on. Apparently, that's unusual for the time. Urban legend, maybe. Uh, there are reports of undershirts plummeting or something. The idea that Clark Gable is just so charismatic that he can kill the clothing industry by not wearing an undershirt is so funny.
Well, he didn't wear one in the movie. I don't need to wear one of these anymore. I'd buy that. I think if it was that popular, and I mean, again, that character, like Peter, is aggressively charismatic. Like, you watch this movie, and I have a little note about it. It's the 30s. Smoking's fucking cool, dude.
Oh, dude,
every time
I want
he
to smoke
stands
and
up,
watch this movie.
takes a cigarette out, taps it down, lights it up, stood there in the suit, especially in the scene when they're out in the woods and
When
he's
he
made like the
throws it
temporary
into the
beds.
hay that he's just thrown down, is like, no,
Yeah,
Peter, don't do that.
you're gonna cause a fire, Pete. But I don't know. It's really, really well done. I mean, it very much. I think to go for the misogyny aspect. Obviously, the film worships Peter a bit more than it does Ellie. They do try and throw a few things in, but you can tell this is a movie where the man is the main character.
Yeah.
Because it really gives Peter all of the focus. It's almost more about Peter winning over Ellie than it is about Ellie and Peter getting together.
But boy, it does give Ellie the final moment of resolution where, there's complications as there is wont to be in a rom-com, and it ends up with uh, Peter doesn't know that Ellie's still in love with him, but Ellie knows that Peter is in love with her. They're walking up to the wedding. The father, who just hates King Wesley, who she's due to be married with, says, hey, he still loves you. If you want to quit it at any point, I've got the car ready. It's on you. And you go through most of the wedding scene, and then she's just like, when she's supposed to say I do or I will, she fucking breaks. Like, she makes the final
Yeah,
decision. It's a very good little moment in a film that has these, like, again, it's not overly progressive, it's the 30s, but there's little snippets of her getting to show independence, and that's like the big one where it's like she's ultimately choosing who she's happy to go with.
yeah, it
And
definitely
yeah.
does make it her. She has a lot more agency. I mean, we mentioned this with Godfather, but I would say Ellie has more agency than any woman in the Godfather.
Oh, definitely. Like by
Like
such a
beyond,
degree. It's
yeah,
yeah.
because they are ultimately her decisions, which I do really like. Like, it does help that she is properly a character in this. Like, she doesn't feel like a plot device.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing that really. If you told me the plot of the movie without me seeing it or knowing too much about it, I would have just assumed that she was a plot device. Like, she
You
was
could do
effectively
this
just MacGuffin.
movie in an hour and 15 and have it be
Yeah.
that. But similar with The Godfather, where you need to breathe in this stuff. You need the character moments, and there's so many character moments. There's one little one when they're in, I think it's the first motel where they stop for the night, and Ellie's father's detectives come looking. Before they even find
Oh,
the cabin where they're staying in, they're having breakfast. We've got an egg, a donut, and coffee. And Ellie starts dunking her donut in the coffee, and there's like a minute-long scene of him going like, "That's not how you dunk. Here's how you dunk now. You take the donut, you rip it in a bit, and you quick dunk out there. Otherwise, it'll get all soggy and splash into the thing." It's just a really funny little character beat. But then when the detectives come in, they don't really like plan it. They just intuit from one another. We're gonna play up that we are a real married couple who are really arguing to the point where we make the detectives so uncomfortable that they leave. And
I genuinely think that was the best scene in the movie.
it's
That
great,
was
right?
incredible.
It's
They,
again like in
especially,
Maniac, where there's this real stress. It sounds like a real argument, loud shouting, constant back and forth. They are referring to events that don't exist because it hasn't happened. And in the moment the room is clear, they both just burst into laughter, which feels so natural. Like I've done that shit with people before, right?
I really love when they burst into laughter, the act breaks, and then the door opens again, and the bus driver is like, "We're gonna leave," and they immediately lock back in and start screaming at each
Yeah,
other.
yeah.
And then he leaves, and they both just again like cackle, and it's so good. It's so like genuine, like interaction with these characters. Like that scene alone could sell you on the movie. I think
Yeah. And
it's so
even
perfect.
the bus driver there, like the movie is full of these little characters and these little character moments and these little actions. The way he steps in to tell them that they're leaving, it's not like a guy walking into a room. He opens the door, like lunges in halfway, and has his other hand like spread out backwards, like he's presenting to like no one. It's like we're leaving in 5 minutes, and it's filled with these fucking weirdos. Like the scene where
Yeah, yeah,
they
yeah.
all just start singing on the bus was great. One point they're hitchhiking, and for one, again, like saying Maniac, I'll give it the grace of the film. The medium's only existed for 20 years. Same time frame. This movie understands like comic cuts and slapstick and timing and stuff so well. But then they end up hitchhiking with a guy who just starts singing about everything.
Yeah, yeah. The
Like
start of the hitchhiking scene I actually really liked as well, where he's saying how good he is at hitchhiking, and I genuinely, because so
that
far with
scene is
Peter,
so yeah.
yeah, you've been sold this idea that he is the smoothest talker, like he can get out of any situation, and you just think it's going to be him going like, "Watch this," and he walks up to the road, and his hitchhiking methods, of which he has three, all immediately fail, and he immediately falls back on the hitchhiking method he said that all idiot hitchhikers who don't get anywhere
Yep.
use, as he waves his hat around in a panic and he's trying to get on. And then as he's saying it, Ellie just shouts like, "Yo, tell me when you get to idea 100." And I'm like, this
Yeah.
is really good dialogue. Like, these are genuine characters. And then she
I,
just steps out,
yeah.
and where she's like, "I've got my own method. I'll try." He's like, "What do you mean you'll try?" And then she stands at the side of the road and she just lifts her skirt up to show her calf to the next driver.
So the limb is better than the thumb.
Yeah, I proved the limbs better than the digital. But like when they showed her showing her like calf, and then you just cut to the inside of the car. The guy slams the handbrake. The car
Yeah.
skids to a stop. Oh, that's really funny. That's really well done. Yeah.
No, I was gonna say the dialogue, like you're saying, is so sharp and so funny and like quippy, but without being unbearable. You got the Mr. Shapley who is trying to flirt with Ellie, who says like, "I've got class with a capital K." Just a really silly like, is he
Yeah.
stupid? Is this the kind of flirting thing? Um, when Ellie is like, I think she's spent all their money trying to get this kid back home safely. Peter says a starvation diet might not suit you. There's loads of these little, just like, oh, that's a really good little moment. I love that. Very smart, very clever, and doesn't linger.
So one thing
Doesn't
actually
linger.
on the fast talking. So this also might be apocryphal, but I've seen a lot of implications that Peter, Clark Gable's character, the one we're talking about,
Hmm.
the charisma, big inspiration for Bugs Bunny.
Yes, so that was the when Mr. Shapley realizes that Ellie is Ellie, and he gets Peter, and he's like, "Hey, let's hand her in," and Peter drags him away, plays up this kind of fast-talking gangster who says he'll hand Mr. Shapley into Bugs Dooley
Yeah,
to get him dealt with. Yeah, apparently, like he's a Bugs Bunny character, which I can see,
yeah, because
right?
it was a bit of that. Because obviously Bugs, I think like 2 or 3 years after this movie was made, um, Bugs Bunny that is. But also the scenes with the
The
carrots,
carrots,
where he's
yeah.
fast talking and eating the carrots. That's another big Bugs Bunny thing. Because I don't think carrots and rabbits were particularly linked until Bugs Bunny. So a lot of his charisma, also like the just constant characters and the fast talking, you can see the Bugs Bunny there. I fully believe that would have been the real inspiration, and from what I saw, it was. But again, could be apocrypha, might not be fully true. Seems like it is though, and
Yeah.
I think that's kind of why you immediately catch this character because he's so iconic, but he's the sort of creation point for a lot of these iconic characters. Big inspiration on the rest of media, effectively. Because like you said, that one.
When you skim the Wikipedia, there are so many like urban legend says it's the Undershots thing, it's the Bugs Bunny thing. There's a lot of these urban legend says that this movie changed all of American culture for the next 60 years, which may be true.
Yeah. So there's actually a thing I really was interested with this movie because, again, to compare it with Maniac, Maniac kind of reinforced a lot of ideas I had about the 30s, and it happened one night, kind of slashed a lot of the
Hmm.
ideas I had about the 30s. So I would have believed that the average person in the 30s, not a terrible, unholy abomination of a person, but I think it's the 30s, right? It's probably not a great time for anyone who's not a white man who is like wealthy. But at least it happened one night. I feel like you could see a lot more of what people would have been like. And again, it's on
Yeah.
film. It's written. It's not going to be exactly real to the people, but it definitely gave more of a fleshed out. Oh, the director, the screenwriters, they have a much more rounded idea of humanity that isn't just everyone's scared of the mentally ill and doctors are apparently Satan,
Yeah, it does
which
feel like it
was nice.
is it like evoking human spirit in multiple scenes to put it as, I don't know, broadly as romantically as you can, I guess. There's the scene when they go on the bus and there are just people randomly singing. It's like a 5 minutes of people just singing. Starts with a band in the back, and then the passengers are all like, "Oh, can we take over? Can we take over?" And even the bus driver does it, and that's what caused the crash. All the motel owners are all very different. They are not, stock motel owner characters. They have different relationships. They have very different looks. I love how people look in these old movies where I don't know if it's intentional, if this is like just how people tend to look then, but so many different, silhouettes and hairstyles and clothing choices. Everyone looks very distinct, where you can kind of pin that's a different character, right away. And again, you have the image of the 30s, which is a 5'11" white man with a kind of that middle part, slicked hair, and a very nice button suit. And there's not a lot of that. There's some of it, definitely, but it also lets you see like design and dress and personality in the characters that you wouldn't expect to see so much.
Yeah, it's kind of movie where I think if I watch that, you kind of get this idea that the 30s aren't actually a different world. Like, they are clearly very different to the modern era, but it just humanizes everyone so much more. Like, everyone is, like you said, a character. All the people are weird in the way that people are always weird. It just works. It's so much more real than, say, like Maniac, where people walk into a scene, look at the camera, and say their lines.
Yeah, the
It's
bad actors ruining a scene is a universal thing, as it turns out. But when you have good
yeah,
actors who are well directed, like I said, even 20 years into the medium, which is again so young for a medium. You think about 20 years into video games. We've got what would it be like early 90s, PlayStation 1 JRPGs that I'd forgotten completely nowadays. Like to
mm.
perform something like this that quickly into feature films existing, insane, mental.
Yeah. I mean, this is the kind of movie where if it came out now as a period piece, you'd be like, "Oh, this is a banger."
Yeah,
Like it's just really good. Like,
I
you
think as
wouldn't
well
really need to
the
change too much.
stuff like the camera use, a lot of dollies, a lot of whip pans, a lot of close ups, feels not contemporary, but doesn't feel old. You could tell me
Yeah,
it was made in like the 80s or the 90s or even the early 2000s, and my only counter would be, but it doesn't look like shit because a lot of those early 2000 movies do.
yeah, yeah. It does have that thing. I mean, I think I mentioned before. I often watch a lot of Columbo, my favorite TV show, all that kind of thing. 70s, great show, well shot, well written. This has that vibe of something really good from the 70s, not something incredible from the 30s. And that it alone is absurd. Like, it's
Hmm,
so good. I think this could have been released any time from the 1930s to the 2000s, and I'd be like, oh yeah, that checks out. It's a really good movie.
hmm.
Just peak. Turns out, you know, actors were good, director is good, everyone else involved, even though the bit characters. I mean, you said about the way they're portrayed and the way they look, but even the actors. I mean, anyone who gets a speaking line in that movie, I'm like, oh, this is
Yeah,
a
they're all
great actor.
believable. They're all, yeah.
Yeah.
Director, by the way, I don't think we mentioned it, is Frank Capra, whose other big film is It's a Wonderful Life. And then
Ah,
also
right.
Mr.
Okay.
Smith
Yeah.
Goes to Washington, a few others. It does seem like his career kind of went downwards after this in terms of immediate public reception. Like, It's a Wonderful Life did not get a great initial reception. It's a classic
Mm.
nowadays, but it wasn't loved at the time. Seems like this is kind of where his career peaked, but if you're going to be remembered for anything, it's a fucking good one, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's we mentioned that you wouldn't recommend Maniac, and obviously saying I would recommend the highest rated movie from any given year, it's a little silly because of course you would.
Yeah, of
But I would
course, yeah.
recommend this more than I expected to recommend it. Like, I think you should watch this movie.
Yeah. Not only if you're interested in like film history, if you have I think you should even watch it even if you don't like rom-coms, because I'm a guy who doesn't really like rom-coms. I've seen one other rom-com that I really, really love, called What's Up Dog, which is another Bugs Bunny inspired rom-com. There's a Bugs Bunny connection there. Um, but like when you have I feel like the characters would work even in a non-romantic setting. That helps it, and the comedy
Yeah.
is genuinely funny independently. And then you just stitch the two together, and that's all you really need. Like, rom-com has a very bad connotation from early mid 2000s, especially if you're someone our age, probably like a male from our age as well. You've got this awful perception of them, but they're good sometimes.
I think one of the things with It Happened One Night is that it feels effortless. I mean, obviously it knew it was a comedy, but it didn't feel like it was trying to be funny. It
Yeah,
just felt like it knew it was,
there was no
and
like
I think that really
pauses,
comes
no
off.
waits for like laugh moments, which is probably a consequence of it being made at the time it was made, right? They wouldn't have planned that in like some movies you see will plan those in where they expect laughs to overtake the audience.
Yeah.
But it is the better for it. It's very sharp and very quick, and so many like fade wipes and quick cuts and really rapidly paced.
Yeah, I was genuinely amazed by how good it was. I'm probably gonna watch it again at some point really soon.
They're
Gonna
definitely
put that in the
an
rotation.
easy rewatch. Yeah,
Yeah,
I will say to stop glazing it incessantly.
yeah.
The bit near the end when they are just on the final brink before they complete, Ellie's delivery to New York. Um, she asks Peter if he has ever thought about love, and he says, like, of course I have. I thought about this, I've planned for it, but where are you going to find a real woman? I want to take her to the beaches, I want to do X, Y, Z. And, it's a very romantic scene, and you could kind of leave it there and have him have this realization of, oh, I need to elope with her because I'm falling in love with her. But you get a very 30s scene in the middle of it,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
most of the 30s isn't there. But Ellie crawls around the blanket, and there is this few minutes of her, professing undying, heart wrenching, I can't
They'll
live
all take me
without
with
you.
you.
Yeah, take me with you. If I have to live another second without you, I can't bear it. And it feels so 1930s. I'm like, oh
It also
man.
didn't really feel very Ellie.
Yes,
I
that's the
feel
biggest
like you
issue.
said, it should have shot. It should have ended on him saying that, and I think you could have cut to her thinking about it and ended the scene there
There was a
because
shot from the earlier motel scene where it's dark, Ellie's in bed, and you just see the silhouette of the head and these little pinpricks where the reflections of whatever light is there in her eyes. It's this perfect little shot where you can just about understand the facial expression and the emotion. Another shot like that is all you needed here to kind of get across that she's, thinking and leaving him with that, and not doing the, throwing herself at him, sprawled
I
over
think
kind
as
of
well.
melodrama.
I think it would have helped the actual next scene as well, because obviously the next scene after she throws herself at him, he immediately drives to New York and tries to say he wants to get everything sorted out so that he can come back and they can just be happy. I
Cajoles his
think
boss
if
into
he
giving him
had
the
that
thousand
realization,
dollars and coming back to,
yeah,
yeah.
I think if he'd just done that in the morning after he'd said all that stuff, because he'd realized, and then he drives off and leaves her a bit confused and a bit lost, and she's not too sure why he's gone after he said all that stuff. I think it would have hit a lot better because it leaves you this idea that she's realized that they've both said too much and it's not going to work, and he's obviously fled in the night after his little revelation that he has thought about this kind of thing.
Hmm.
I think that would have actually worked if you'd completely excised the bit where she throws herself at him and just kept everything else the same.
Yeah.
And it would have been fine, if not better.
Because he still would have gone missing in the night, and like
Yeah.
it would have been the same overall vibe, especially because there's earlier scenes where she is again not throwing herself at him, but very clearly like there is romantic connection there. Like that's already been established, and she already has her thoughts and feelings about it. You don't need this really direct scene that
Yeah, it almost
gets
feels
it
like that
across.
scene is permission for the rest of the movie to happen. And I don't think it needed it.
Yeah,
it
yeah, there was
although
enough
one
work
funny one actually,
preemptively.
on the tension. I did think the moment of the most 1930s romantic tension I've ever seen is in the
Straw.
woods where he's
Yeah,
putting the
yeah,
blanket over her,
yeah.
and they lean and they're both like looking at each other. And in any other movie, they would have kissed.
I was
And
expecting
I
it.
do think it's
Yeah,
better that they didn't.
yeah, definitely,
But
definitely.
it's so funny how long it lingers because they're like, "What can we show? What are we allowed to do here? Like, how
Because
chaste do we need these
what
characters
exactly
to
is it that
be?"
happens? She's laying in the hay when he's going off to go and find food. She's talking to herself. She turns over. He's not there. She begins screaming. He comes running back. They have a little, back and forth. He's like, "Ah, you're a brat. You're a dame. You can't do anything by yourself." And I forget what she says, but there is this moment of revelation where she's like, "Oh, he really cares for me," in that very 1930s way, where him aggressively shouting at me is an indication that he cares for me.
Yeah, that's what love looks like, right?
Yeah, exactly. And
I mean,
she
Brat can be a
lies
pet
back.
name, but
It definitely is in this one.
yeah,
But she lies back, hands above her head, a full, like, I'm exposed, I'm vulnerable, have your way with me kind of gesture. and then he gets out the coat of it over her, and like you said, yeah, he brings it down, and they pause. It's like a 20-second pause of him leaning in, say he's gonna do it, they're gonna do it, they're gonna do it, and then he pulls back. It's like, okay, you've saved your final moment,
Yeah.
and it is better for it. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think the fact that both characters feel, apart from like the odd time where they are both involved and they both have agency about this decision, like it really works. And that scene feels weirdly long. If it was a little bit shorter, I think it would have worked better. But that scene as an idea is definitely good.
Yes, that's my other takeaway negatively. I think you could like snip 10 minutes of this movie in various little places. It does just like linger a bit, and especially near the end. And maybe this is a foreknowledge thing where you kind of know where it's going to go. Like, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
okay, they're arguing, they're shouting, there's the wedding. Come on, come on.
I mean, in a way though, it's impressive for a movie of its length to only lose 10 minutes in the 1930s.
Oh, definitely.
Um,
Like so many other movies, or from this time or around this time that I've seen in, TV or wherever else, you could snip huge chunks. Maniac, you could snip out 50 fucking minutes to be a better movie from it, right?
yeah, well, it's quite cool because I do think, like I said, it's pretty efficient, but it isn't efficient in that way that a lot of how would I say this in a way that isn't too rude? Amateur authors, let's
Mm,
say, and amateur film directors of the modern era, who are quite plot driven, and everything must be in service to the plot. And if there's dialogue that isn't in service to the plot, get rid of it. And also, like any amount of like sex scene that isn't just directly related to the plot is terrible and bad and should be removed. This movie feels quite efficient, but doesn't also want to just dwell on everything must drive the plot forward.
but it's a movie
Like,
without really a plot, like it is entirely characters. You need to understand the characters, so it is so quick at getting those across.
it was actually a thing I was thinking when obviously there's that immediate point towards the end, just after the she throws herself at him, where they introduce these two characters don't know what the other is thinking, and they both think the worst possible thing has happened, right?
Yeah.
So he drives off to go to New York to tell a thing, and she thinks he's just left because she threw herself at him. And she then goes to the sheriff's office to call her father and say, "Guess I'm coming back to New York. The wedding's back on," and whatnot, because she thinks he's abandoned her. He drives as he's driving back. He sees the police escort, and he sees her in the police escort driving back to New York, and he thinks that she's abandoned him. Really good scene. Felt really interesting because it was sort of a suddenly there's drama in the plot.
Yeah.
It kind of almost blindsided me. I wasn't expecting that kind of ambiguity and big tension. Like, oh shit, like how's this actually going to go? Obviously, they clear it up pretty quick, but it came so suddenly and hit so hard. I was quite impressed. I thought that was a really cool set of scenes. In a way, just because I wasn't expecting them to do anything like that.
Hmm.
And again, pretty impressive for how old the movie is when the movie happened. I mean, people knew how to make movies even when they hadn't been doing it for very long. But that moment of like, oh, a real, genuine plot moment of like,
Yeah, yeah.
there's a contention here, there's a problem. It just, I didn't expect it.
I think
Because
I'd
usually
stopped
it's
for a
been
bathroom
that.
break like just as Peter left and saw there was like 25 minutes left. I was like, okay, I see you movie.
Something's going to happen.
I see
Yeah.
you.
This is why I just lock in. I just watch start to finish. I don't know how long this movie's going to be, and I don't know how long it's got left. It's a good method.
I try and do that, but the body has its needs.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. I try to let them breathe because normally, I don't know if it's a bad habit. It's probably a bad habit. I'm definitely not a spoiler guy. So sometimes I'll be looking at a film, I'm gonna watch it, and I won't like skip around. Like I got ADHD, but I got it that bad. Or I'm trying to see like how is this gonna end. But there
Yeah,
are times where I'll like wiggle the mouse and see like, okay, where are we at? And I'll try and like suss the movie out. And with
yeah,
these so far, I'm trying to avoid doing that, and I'm enjoying it. I'm definitely getting more out of the movies for not knowing where in the movie we are. Because obviously, once you know how long it's going to be, you can suss out what they need to do to resolve the plot.
Especially because
It's
this is
almost,
what,
yeah.
an hour and 40. Like it's normal movie length, and it is structured very much like a contemporary movie time-wise. So you can really you can see the beats as they come. It's a movie of thirds.
Yeah, if you know what a rom-com is, you know where this is going. So,
Yeah.
yeah. But no, really good. I really enjoyed it. I would recommend. Obviously it's a bit late, but I would recommend anybody would watch it before they listen to this, just to see it. Maybe we'll put that
I'll
at the
put
start.
content warning. I'll say skip to the end to get a recommendation, and then watch the movie.
Yeah. Nathan said watch this first, so maybe go watch that. If you've done the homework, you've already watched both movies anyway.
I mean, if my viewing habits on YouTube and podcast is anything, I will. Well, people will be listening to this and never watching it, and then 5 years later they go, "Oh, that movie! Someone said it was good," and then they'll watch it and they go, "Oh,
Yeah, then they'll watch it. Perfect. If
that's a
I can
good
get at
movie."
least one person to remember to watch this movie in around 2031, I'll be happy.
Job done. Bada bing. Let's go.
Job done. Yeah.
So, before we pick our next movies for the weeks, we have Who Said That? The segment of the show that
Who
I
said that?
named very poorly.
Yeah, I
I've
feel like it's
gathered.
more of a like, what are they talking about?
Yeah, but like I had the idea for like the quick Who Said That pitch, and then realized after I'd already gathered reviews, like
That's like
20
an
minutes
in-joke.
before
I think
recording.
if the audience have seen the first two, in the later, 20 episodes in, we say who said that, no context.
Yeah,
Someone's
we'll
like, what the
stop
fuck are these two
explaining
jokers talking about? we don't even guess who said it. I'm not going to guess someone's letterbox.
it.
Yeah, I think that
Some
was
of them are
Karen
just
from Ohio.
first names as well.
Yeah. Yeah, that was just like give their address, like just dox people. Yeah, they didn't like that movie we liked, so anyway, go get them.
Yeah. I've gathered 5 reviews, either from It Happened One Night or Maniac from letterboxd.com, .net.gov. I'm going to list them off to Nathan, I'm going to read them out. He has to guess which movie this is from. Here's our first one. It's from Ethan. He says, "There's a lot of good bits here, also a lot more aggression than I expected."
So Ethan's definitely from Ohio. I would say
254 Buckley
254
Road.
Greater East Street. I don't know.
Yeah,
No,
there
their
you
number's
are.
usually bigger in American streets. It's like
True.
1576. Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. Anyway, a lot of violence. I mean, a lot of
more
aggression.
aggression
Sorry, on
than
my
expected,
brain.
yeah.
I replaced that with that. A lot of aggression. I think the fact that they said aggression and not violence tells me it happened one night. Because there was some aggression, lots of shout. I think if you were somewhat soft-skinned, to use the pleasant term,
I
think
saw
the
people talking
argument-
about the argument saying, "I can't believe people like this movie, it's so abusive."
that's the thing I would imagine people would see the argument, even though both characters are in on the argument, would get upset by it. Despite the fact that is one of the highest agency scenes for Ellie in the entire movie.
Yeah. Like she's ultimately the one who like leans into the idea, yeah.
Yeah, she knew what was going on, and she shows that she's just as much as a fast talker as Peter, which is an incredible scene. I would say it's about It Happened One Night. That's my rationale.
You got that one. Who said that? You got it. Here's one from Sarah. She says, "I'm not usually a fan of overacting, but here I really enjoy the extremely exaggerated performances, dramatic inflections in the dialogue, and wild emotional outbursts."
Is it someone using overacting correctly or incorrectly? That's the question here.
Because it is the 30s, there's a lot of overacting.
Yeah, because like It Happened One Night was one of the most like naturalistic like movies. I think like really good dialogue. Every character felt real. I wouldn't say there was very much overacting at all.
They feel like the idea of a person, I think is the way to say it. They don't feel like people. They feel like what you feel a person should be, which someone could see as overacting.
I would say that's the essence of acting, but maybe I could be wrong.
I mean, Mr. Shapley is definitely an exaggerated performance.
I don't know. I think he probably
so
existed
is
like 1-to-1. I'm gonna have to guess Maniac, and I'm gonna have to guess that Sarah is from Connecticut.
Okay, well, I can confirm one of those is correct. I don't know about the other one. I don't plan to find out.
Yeah, I think the overacting. If you take her review in good faith,
yeah,
it's got to be Maniac. Although, also an idiot for enjoying the overacting.
Yeah, sorry, Sarah. We're not gonna dox you, but we do fucking hate you.
Not to like immediately put you on blast, but you are a moron. Like
If you're listening to this, you're not. You're fine. We love you really.
yeah, you're
Here's
all
one
right. You're allowed
from
to have bad
J
opinions.
Goggles, which I think is generic enough. It could be either of them. J
Yeah,
Goggles says the 30s were fucking wild.
got to be Maniac.
Incorrect.
Really?
Yeah, it happened one night, a
Ah.
wild time. There's a lot of wild stuff in there that I can
There was a
probably,
wild stuff. I mean, the guy turned up to his wedding in a like rotary
He
plane.
landed a real plane, a fucking one
Yeah.
person, crazy stuff. Here's one from Fatma. This review is just 7 of the same emoji, and when I looked it up, it's called sad but relieved face emoji.
Okay, sad but relieved face emoji.
So if you want to Google that
7
one
of
now
them
and
as
get
well.
some context, maybe.
Yeah,
I hope
let
you're
me have a
right.
look. What is sad but relieved emoji? Let's have a look. As the audience hears me just Google an emoji. True podcasting experience.
This is how you know you're a mid millennial and not a zoomer. You don't know what this emoji is off.
Oh, I know this one. I don't know why I said it like that. That makes me sound like such a boomer. I've seen this emoji. I'm going to assume it happened one night.
Correct. Gave it away.
Correct. I don't know why that feels correct, but I feel
I think this is adjacent to horny, right? Like it's like if you get a text from someone it's a bit salacious, you do like a couple of those, right?
but it's also I think like there are moments in that movie, especially towards the end, where it's maybe if you're not as like plot brained, you're not going to know it's a will they, won't they, and they're definitely going to will they. Maybe you would be relieved.
Would you be sad? Because it's sad but
Could be
relieved.
like you could be like, oh, thank God for that. You know, you're a little bit sad, then relieved. I don't know what
Yeah.
the progression of this emoji is.
Also, the emoji looks different based on your like font and like device. So this could be way hornier on like Apple, right?
That's true, actually. I don't know what the Apple one looks like. I've only got the
Yeah.
Android one.
All right, and our last who said that, this is Dave Jackson, who says, in 1934, Frank Capra gifted the world with It Happened One Night. Is this a double bluff? Is the question.
Yeah, I think because I could see someone doing what we're doing, right? Watching the worst movie and make a little joke about how this at the same time. I'm gonna have to say it happened one night, but I'm not gonna be shocked if it's on Maniac.
I've gotten you. I've double bluffed you. It's from Maniac.
It's from Maniac. There we
This was a
go.
snippet of another review where he lists like a bunch of good 30s movies and then also, dog
Right,
shit
right,
Maniac.
right. That
Yeah.
would kind of give the game away, yeah.
It would, yes, if I read the full 4 paragraph review that talks about how bad
Full
Maniac
paragraph.
is. People yap, dude. I'm sorry, Dave Jackson,
People
if you're
do
listening,
yap.
but like you do be yapping.
I'm not sure
You
we can
talk
say
too
people
much.
yap when we've just recorded an entire podcast about this. Like, this is yapping at its purest form.
Yeah, but like it's opt-in yapping. You're not going to just stumble into this, right? I stumbled
See?
into Dave Jackson's
Yeah,
review.
and forcing you to read that. Yeah, true. Okay, I see your point. All right. Getting good at
Well,
these.
what was that? That was 3 out of 5. Your first one. I think.
I mean, you're getting good at picking
4 out of 5. Oh, Oh, well, thank you.
them.
Thank you very
Yeah,
much. Here is the tier list where we need to put them up. Maniac, I'm gonna veto if you have any opposition. Is in trash one above epic movie, like just total dog shit.
yeah. No, I'll buy that.
For
I think
context again,
we
if
put that
you're for
straight in
audio
trash.
listeners, we have top to bottom bangers, gold star, yeah it's good, yeah it's fine, too interesting to call bad, consolation prize, and trash.
I
Now it
think
happened one night.
we could. I mean, I just want to put it in bangers, but I mean, I don't want to just keep putting stuff in bangers. But I really think this shocked me as to how good it really was. It's the first one that I think I'm gonna just rewatch whenever.
Okay.
Like, I think I could put this on. If someone said like, you want to watch a movie, I reckon I would like recommend like this as an option.
Okay, wow.
Like, this is an easy watch.
Yeah. Because I'm trying to like, I want to give it its flowers, but I also want to be reasonable, right? Because I'm thinking when I put bangers, I'm putting like the top tier. Like I have movies that we're not watching that I know I'd put in bangers, and I know how they made me feel. And like it happened one
Yeah.
night, didn't get that same kind of depth of emotion. I think I'd be happy to put it a high gold star, like
I think
above The
high gold
Godfather.
star. Okay, I think from its running time and from it being just enjoyable the entire way through,
Mm.
and I don't want to rate something on easy watch because I think difficult watch is also very valuable, if not sometimes more valuable. But I do think people undersell how good being an easy watch is.
Yes, you need
Not
good,
everything
easy
needs to be a challenging
watches.
piece of media.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes I just want to sit down with 100 minutes of not fluff, but like I don't really have to fully engage and I can still have a
Yeah.
great time.
I mean, I've mentioned it, right? I watch Columbo more than The Wire. Like, at the
You
end of the day, like, I do think Columbo is the better show because I
know,
think it, in a way, being able to just be watched like that has a lot of value.
yeah,
But I wouldn't say don't watch something just because it's difficult.
yeah. Like I've got fucking Ingmar Bergman movies I'm meaning to watch, and I watched season 3, episode 14 of Next Generation instead. You know, like you're allowed to just
Yeah,
watch trash sometimes.
it's sort of the thing where if someone said, should I see It Happen One Night? I'm like, yeah, go watch it. It's good.
Yeah,
Someone goes like, should I watch The Godfather? I'm like, you should see The Godfather. I don't necessarily think you should see The Godfather a lot of times, but I think you should definitely see it.
yeah,
And that's sort of why I think I put It Happened One Night better, because I'm like, you can watch this. Like, it's genuinely just a great movie. Just put it on, you'll enjoy it. Happy days. You don't need to say anything, and you don't need to like prep yourself for it.
yeah. And as long as you're like, if you're with people who want to watch a movie as well, as long as they're not snippety about old movies, you can watch this with anyone. Godfather,
Yeah.
I'm not ever going to get my mum to watch The Godfather. You know, she just will not watch it.
It's a good litmus test, because if your friends aren't going to watch a movie just because it's in black and white, you shouldn't talk to them anymore.
Yeah, don't be friends with them. Fuck them.
Yeah, they're just actually stupid. Like we said that Sarah was dumb. She's not dumb because she watched the movie. It's black and white. Actually a genius. If you can't watch a black and white movie, you're an idiot. Like it's really simple.
And Sarah, you're smart as hell. Forget what we said before.
Yeah. I'm really sorry for calling you a moron.
Okay, so You Have One Night goes into Gold Star and Maniac goes into Trash. Let's
There we go.
spin the wheel. We'll see what we get. Attention. Oh, it's another early one.
It's a bit more readable.
1912.
1912.
Let's see what we've got from
Going
1912.
back
That is
in time.
nearly
How long
our
is
breakpoint. It's going to be
it
short.
also might be very short.
So most popular film of 1912 is The Cameraman's Revenge, which sounds fun, but we may not
Great
be watching
poster
that.
for anyone who's a pure audio listener.
Yeah. The lowest average rating 1912 is Making an American Citizen. I already don't like the name of that. That's
Ooh.
concerning. And the highest rated is Cameraman's Revenge. Okay, let's see.
Oh, there we go. We get to see the good poster.
So we've checked in 1912. Both of the highest rated and lowest rated for a chunk are very short, so we're going to attach that on to another year, which we'll find out what that is.
You're getting a double feature of double features. It's 1912 and...
Oh. 1940. Okay.
Okay, this is like one of those like danger years. There might be some Nazi stuff.
Let's find out.
I would love a 1940s one where the best movie is anti-Nazi propaganda and the worst movie is Nazi propaganda. I'd actually really enjoy that.
Most popular is probably going to be the highest rated one. No, most popular is Pinocchio, which we're not watching.
Oh, hell yeah.
Well, remember, most popular. We're watching highest rated.
Oh, yeah, you always get me with this. Yeah.
we got to do context, you know? Lowest rated of 1940 is... Oh, I don't like that poster.
That looks racist.
Oh, I don't want to say that
really
one.
Racist. So it's a Sus, S-U umlaut, double S, the Jew.
The Jew,
a Nazi historical drama about Duke Karl Alexander of Württemberg and his treasurer, Sus Oppenheimer.
Okay.
Okay, so it is Nazi propaganda.
Yep, and highest rated is The Great Dictator, which is anti-Nazi propaganda.
Okay, it is actually what I was hoping for. It's anti-Nazi, pro-Nazi. I've never seen The Great Dictator. I feel like I should have seen this.
I don't think I've seen fully any Chaplin movies, so this should be interesting.
Okay, it's going to be like a heavy one next week.
Yeah. Yeah, we get to have the death battle of which is a better movie, the Nazi one or the anti-Nazi one.
You know, much like real life, I tend to side with the anti-Nazis, which is becoming more and more common in contemporary media as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, not even contemporary media, just contemporary fucking
Contemporary
existence.
life. I feel like it shouldn't even, it will date the thing, but we do gotta say fuck ICE, dude. Like we
Oh
gotta
yeah,
we gotta
like
throw that in.
if
If you know anybody in ICE and you're friends with them, you're also a terrible bad person.
yeah,
So you also should get that checked out.
in case you were worried that we were going to say actually the Nazi movie is good in any regard, nah.
Yeah. Even it could be perfectly shot, well executed, and with a really good narrative. Still going to be one of the worst pieces of trash, just from like its soul is tainted.
Yeah.
So we're not going to give it a fair shake. You don't need to give Nazis a fair shake. You do not got to hand it to them.
Yeah,
But
no,
we'll watch
it'll
it.
probably be like 10 minutes of just saying, yeah, it's Nazi propaganda. What fucking more do you need to hear? If you need to hear more from your, pop filler podcast about nothing, check yourself.
Yeah.
Do some research. Are you a good person? You might not be.
But hey, you might hear more from us. Not anything positive, but we're going to have to talk about it.
Yeah.
Interesting one to provide the homework. You might want to just watch the 1912 movies and The Great Dictator. Up to
Probably
you,
a better
really.
time.
You can watch the Nazi one if you want to.
We didn't
I
actually look at
reckon
what the
it's not going to
summary
be.
for the 1912 movies were, did we?
No, we didn't. Let's quickly bring that up.
Making an American citizen. A recent immigrant learns several hard lessons about how husbands in America are expected to behave. Great. Love it. Cool.
Isn't that the bad movie?
Yes. The
Okay,
cameraman's
interesting.
revenge is a jilted husband takes his revenge by filming his wife and her lover and showing the result at the local cinema. This is one of Sterowitz's first animated films and stars a cast of animated Beatles. Yo! What the fuck?
Hang on. Dude, jilted love drama by way of metamorphosis?
Let me
I'm
just
down for
add
this.
something there. Polish jilted love drama by way of metamorphosis. This is gonna rock, dude. Hell yeah.
Yeah, that sounds really good. Good palate cleanser. I'll probably watch that after the Nazi one.
Yeah, should we do Nazi one first, get out of the way, then the shorts, then the Great Dictator? That would be the format.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll give you an easy
Don't
way
want to end
to
on the Nazis.
yeah. We'll give you an easy way to skip past the Nazi movie next week. So if you're not comfortable with that, don't worry. There'll be a timestamp, or I'll say something in the opening on when to go to get past it.
Yeah. We'll give you free access to avoid the Nazi stuff if you want.
Yeah. All right. Well, that is Bangs and Trash. Yeah, Maniac.
Episode 3.
Very bad. It happened one night. Very good. Watch one of them. You can probably intuit which one.
Yeah, you can figure out for yourself which one that's going to be.
Yeah. All right, well, thank you for listening, and we'll see you next week for a brief discussion about the Nazi Party.
Yeah, good stuff. And once again, I'm sorry, Sarah.
Sorry, Sarah. Sorry. All right, have a good one.